This episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room is more than meets the eye. Hello and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. And in this episode, I'm sorry, due to time restraints and getting over an illness, we're going to be doing another collection. This time, we're going to be looking at different Transformer reviews that I've done in the past. Now, what makes the Transformers so special to me nowadays is the love my son has for them. And what makes this segment so great for me is him singing the theme song. This was when he was 3 years old, which he'll be turning 4 very shortly, but for me, this is just a little time capsule to how cute and awesome he was at 3 years old. And he's still cute and awesome, and he still sings it, and he still loves Transformers. But the love that we had for them in the 80s, it is so great to see it passed on to the next generation. And without holding his hand, without browbeating him, he has loved it all unto himself. So without further ado, here is the first segment of Straight from Cybertron.
And it goes, Transformers, we meet a die, a box was about to eat us, Cybertrons. Yeah!
Growing up with not having a lot of money, the mini-cons were one of the only Transformers I had. I did have a few of the big ones, but the mini-cons were at a great price point that my parents could afford. So it just blew me away that now that I'm getting back into Transformers because of my son, the new sculpts of some of the mini-cons that have been released, I mean, they just blow my mind. Let's take a look at some of them. First off, Beachcomber. The lovable dune buggy kind of had a surfer's personality in the cartoon, but back in the day, I wish I still had him, he was only like this big. Tiny compared to this. But he did have a pullback feature, if I do remember correct, that he could move. This one does not, just normal spinning wheels. But check out the awesome Autobot symbol. Has great work on the roll bar and the engine here. But let's transform them. And by the way, the new Transformers, for the past couple years, because I've been trying to buy some older ones for my son as well, are very modular. They're very posable, much more than they used to be. And if you accidentally rip an arm off, it just pops right back on. Which is good because I have caught my son doing pretty much what we used to do with Rubik's Cubes back in the day, where if you can't get something to, we used to switch the stickers around so it looked like we were smart. But what he does is, at 3, since he can't get some of them to transform, he'll pop off pieces of it and then put them together and then snap it all back into place. So lucky for me and for him that they're made very modular, I guess is a good way to say it. But look at that. What a great sculpt. I mean, back in the day, we would have never have thought Beachcomber would look like this. And mind you, he's one of the more simple ones. Let's take a look at another one. Sea Spray, who, by the way, had a very goofy voice in the cartoon. But the hovercraft, again, was very, very tiny originally when I was a kid. But he also had the air blowers that moved. He also comes with a gun, but I couldn't find that at the moment in my son's little Transformers box. But let me transform him. And I think he's awesome. Again, great posing, great just all around toy, great for a 3-year-old, great for me. Back in the day, these dudes would just flip up and, oh look, there, he's a robot. Oh, now he's a hovercraft. Oh, now he's a robot. Now he's a hovercraft. They did not transform this intricately or look this great. Look at me, he's flexing. Check out my guns, bro! But now we get to my favorite. And as a kid, this toy was my favorite. So it just warms my heart that this one has a great transformation and looks so boss. But Cosmo, or Cosmos, the UFO. Love the colors, the green and the yellow. But he has such a great anime look to his, we'll just say his angles. Oh, see, pop his little head up there. But I love how his shoulders stick up like that, and the angles of his feet, and how this looks armored. He's got guns on his thighs. Shoot, man. Don't mess with him. And how his thrusters turn into like a jetpack on the back. This has become one of my favorites. Just because of the new toy. But it has a very, like I said, like an anime inspired look to it. To me anyway. With the big shoulder pads. Armored, it looks like a Gundam or something almost. But that's it for right now straight from Cybertron. Okay. I think Transformers, probably out of any toy franchise, has had the most reboots, restarts, and re-imaging ever. I'm not even talking about the movies, because honestly, I never want to talk about those movies. But what I'm talking about is all the different cartoons that have been on TV. One of the more recent ones is Robots in Disguise, which I personally loved. My son loves it, and through him watching it, I fell in love with the show. But one of the best things about it are the toys. So let's take a look at a couple of them. First off is Skywarp. Now look at this. Remember the jets, Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, when we were kids? Right now you can see, without me even transforming it, that this is a beautiful looking jet. We got the Decepticon symbols here on the wings. But if you remember, as I transform him, the old Generation 1 jets, there were a lot of removable parts. The wings had to be removed and placed a different way. The arms were these big cuffs that slid over that you ended up losing, like most of the removable hands back in the day. But they were solid metal, and they were very nice. But this is something special. Now you can see there's his head. And it's the same as the Generation 1s where it just flips down. But let me turn it towards the camera so you can see. And he's solid, as you can hear the snaps of how things are kept in place. The little posts and stuff, which are nice. And this guy comes with guns as well that go under his wings and that he can hold and look awesome. They're like pistols, so he looks like a cool gunfighter. But they are in my son's big toy box right now. But look at this. An engineering marvel, honestly. I mean, back in the day, how, like I said, the parts would get missing, they would pop off, but everything's right there. And look at that, he's super posable. Ours back in the day weren't this posable. So when he first got him, I loved posing him with his two pistols in different poses. And like I said, they're in my son's toy box right now, and I didn't dig for them. But that is Skywarp from the Robots in Disguise line. It's a great piece, and honestly, if you ever get sick of Transformers one day, this dude is definitely going up on my shelf. Now to the next is Bumblebee. And yes, this is the more movie-styled Bumblebee, but there's an interesting thing about the Robots in Disguise cartoon. I have a hard time trying to figure out where it falls in the chronological order of things and which generation it's spawned off of. Because in the Robots in Disguise line, the Transformers were on Earth. They beat the Decepticons, they gathered up all their stuff and went home. It's 30 odd years later, and a prison transport that was full of Decepticons has crash landed on Earth. So a small band of Transformers have come to Earth, hidden from humans other than the ones that they've befriended, because they don't want to alert the people of Earth that there's going to be another problem or war coming up. And Bumblebee is the leader, because it is believed that Optimus is dead, which that's a whole nother side story. But they allude to him, looking different when he was younger and being a scout before he became a leader. So I like to believe that it's spawned off of Generation 1, and this is just him now stepping up, a la, Hot Rod to Rodimus Prime, that he's a souped-up car now than a Volkswagen Bug. And like I said, they talk about how he used to be a scout, which was what he originally was in his small mini-con version. Okay. Always worry about some of these things breaking, so don't mind me. Okay, here we go. Again, superposable. And check this out. I think this is a neat way. Those slide down. And there we go. So, not a bad toy. Yes, I am more fond of the Volkswagen Bug Bumblebee, but this is a darn nice figure, and it's a cool car that's not Michael Bay-anized to look all mechanical and clunky and crappy. Brightly colored, just the way he should be. He's even got a smirk on his face. if you can see that. It's probably super blurry, so I apologize. But he's smirking, believe me. He's just a fun-loving dude who now has this leadership role that he needs to fulfill. Now next, I can't say have a mini-con line, but they have a smaller, cheaper price point line. And that's one thing you have to give the Transformers credit for, is they have many different price points, and you can find the same cars in a $50 model, a $15 model, and a $5 model. But these are some of the $5 cheap ones. And at first I'm like, what a ripoff, because when you look at them in the package at the store. But then when I got these home, and this is a dude named Bisque, little orange cool sports car. But if you think about the mini-cons that we had back in the day, and how rudimentary and simple their transformations were, these seem like an engineering marvel. That these are probably people that could design expansion bridges and things like that. Suspension bridges, sorry. But look at the detail. He's a little crab dude. And that's the one thing I loved about the Decepticons also in this line, is they had a very animalistic look to them. And this dude is a crab. And where is it here? Excuse me as I fuddle around with it. Here we go. His pinchers come out. But they're pretty darn posable for this size. Very simple, cheap. I mean, we can pick one up pretty much every time we go to Walmart and not feel like we're spending a lot or spoiling the kid. But this is Bisque, and he's a funny character in the show. Now another one is Blur. Very much the same color scheme as the one from Generation 1. And again, very... oh shit. Well, this is one of the things I always like about these new ones. They're very modular. Not like the old ones that with the die cast snapped, you were screwed. Nope. Just pop it right back in. And that's great for a little kid who's just now learning how to transform stuff, because accidents are bound to happen, and just snap stuff back into place. But see? Just a notch up higher than the mini-cons of our day. A little bit more detail on the face, great paint job, and they're somewhat more posable. I mean, their arms aren't that great, but they have movable knees and stuff. But I love that we have these in the house, and I play with them all the time. But anyway, that's just a look at some of the Robots in Disguise line that's out now. You can find them on your local store shelves. But anyway, that was Straight from Cybertron.
I hope you enjoyed the first two segments of Straight from Cybertron, and now here's a commercial break.
You can trust me, Rodimus. You can trust me, Galvatron.
Introducing the Transformer Double Spy. From a supercar, he can transform into a heroic Autobot or an evil Decepticon. Now discover the clones. Decepticon clones. Look identical, but one transforms into a Puma, the other into a Hawk. To fight Autobot clones, one of these twins transforms into a jet, the other a dragster. Now available Transformers decoys in specially marked packages.
We got a couple Generation 1s here, and a more recent release that came out in 2007. Here we go. First off, this is a later release, definitely after 86. We'll have to see if this dude's got a date on it. But this is grotesque. He's a weird saber-toothed dragon thing with two tails, and kind of Looks like a kangaroo. He came with wings, which I can't find anymore, and this neat little feature here, where he spits sparks. Now, let's transform this dude. Very easy transformation. And when I show you this, I think he's got a great face sculpt. His tails fold in. But that's about it. He came with a double-barreled white laser, I think. White laser gun. But look at that face. It's actually a pretty decent sculpt. There were a few other ones in this little monster line, and I can't remember any of them to save my life right now. Great foil stickers there, all over them actually. But his biggest feature was the sparking action. But it's not a bad figure. The colors reek of late 80s. Oh yeah, I was going to check the date on here, which it's hidden. It is a totally Hasbro produced from 1987. Yeah, I think I got this dude at a KB toy store in the mall. And I remember after getting him, we went out to get Chinese food. Don't know why I remember that, but I do. He was actually the very last Generation 1 Transformer I remember getting as a kid. So let's put him to the side. And one of my favorites, beat up condition, got him Christmas morning, but Soundwave. Missing his battery cover. His eject button still works though, so that's always a bonus. Missing his Decepticon sticker, which is a bummer. But transform him, and he's just a jiggly wobbly mess. Very loose. I actually saw one in a local flea marketplace that I'm hoping to get back to if it's not balled up. Much better condition than mine, and he still comes with buzzsaw. So hopefully I'll get there one day. But like I said, a big jiggly mess. I remember pushing these buttons in thinking it would do something. Oh wait, Mom, I think I got it. Oh, nothing. Because he has this like switch here that actually moves, and this knob here moves, the volume knob. So heck, I thought, and in Japan he was an actual working radio from what I understand, but I thought for sure that he would work in real life as well. Not the tapes, of course, but something. Buzzsaw is long gone, and this guy's definitely seen better days, but he's been in my life since 1984, Christmas morning, like I said, so it's surprising he's lasted this long. He has a place on my shelf with another bit of Transformers memorabilia I have that I'll show you in another episode. But Here is the 2007 release of Ramjet. Now, it's a lot different than the original one, of course. He's missing the turbines here, but he looks, I'm totally ignorant in this, but I think like a Russian design, a MiG almost. But let's transform him. I mean, that's an awesome looking jet. Even has the transfer symbol here. I don't know if that comes out on film. It just looks dark here, so I apologize. Anyway, so let's transform him. Now, the original jets that we've commented before on the channel, the wings would pop off and they just go back, and not very very cool feature, but they would just kind of sit there and not very imaginative on how to transform them. So I feel like over the years Hasbro or Takara or whoever really upped their jet game, because the wings stay on, they're not big and awkward. Oh, what the heck. There we go. And they just fold up here at his feet. Don't know what I'm supposed to do with these little fins here. I don't know if they... Excuse me while I figured this out. Okay. As you can tell, I hadn't read the instruction manual from 2007. Oh, interesting. Excuse me while I figure it out, like I said. We gotta fold his arms in for a second. And then these fins. Snap up like that. Give him a little extra flair. There we go. Ramjet. Like I said, the wings aren't awkward like they used to be. Of course, I'm missing his blasters, or I think they're in my son's toy box, because I've given him this one to play with, which might be dumb on my part, but he loves it. But he's in good shape. My son's taking care of him because he loves him so much. But there's Ramjet. And that whole series of the second wave of the Generation 1 jets all had the nose cone for their head, which I always liked for some reason. But we'll put him right there. Anyway, thanks for taking a trip with me to Cybertron.
I hope you enjoyed the first 3 segments of Straight from Cybertron. This has been the first collection, and if you like what you saw, hit the like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to see more episodes like this, hit the subscribe. And if you want to be notified, hit the little bell. And every time there's a new episode, you'll know about it. But until next time, keep being rad, stay dorky. Peace!